welcome to Good Boys Gone Bland, Season 8, Episode 6, Stark Raving Mad. I'm your co-host, Denali.
I'm your co-host, Ryan.
I'm your co-host, Jace. And with us today, coming out of the west corner, the biggest, baddest motherfucker from Moscow, Idaho ever there was.
Oh,
wait, no, that's DMCA probably.
Kaimi!
Hey! Hello, my name's Kaimi. I still identify as a Washingtonian. I'm only 8 miles from the border.
That's
okay.
better.
So
That's better.
Yeah.
Still.
We'll get out the Sharpie and carve on the map for you, yeah.
We won't introduce you as an Idahoan. Don't worry about that. I will edit that out. Welcome to the show, dog. You're a long-time listener, first-time caller. How does it feel to be on Good Boys Gone Bland? Be honest.
It's like pretty terrifying, but yeah, it's good to be here finally. Long-time listener, been here since the Deli Dudes days.
Yes.
And,
So you know the Deli Dudes.
yeah,
Yes.
and Lobstericane, all that good stuff.
Oh, man.
We're working on that.
It's music to my
Someone
ears.
who
I
knows the
I hate
lore.
having to reintroduce that concept every single time.
Oh no, it's like every time it pops up, I'm like, how does people not know about these?
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, see there?
Fans nowadays are fucking coddled, all right? They like to be spoon-fed everything, all right? We got a fan who pays attention to the details. And we're sorry, Kaimi. You've listened to probably a lot of our hours of our bullshit thus far. We thank you for sticking with us, for finally coming on. And I'd also like to apologize for making you watch this movie.
Yeah, I think we.
yeah.
I don't know when we put this, okay? Because normally we try not to give
Yes.
any type of review about the movie
no
too
review.
early.
No
But
opinion.
we
I
were
often
having a-
get chastised.
We were having a short conversation about this before you jumped on, Denali, and I think personally that
Yes.
Ryan didn't uphold his civic duty as the first watcher of the film to say, "Hey, this is a no-go."
Hey, guys,
Dude,
pivot.
okay, no way. Because let's get something real straight. Like, I'm in the middle between you two guys on, like, what's acceptable content, okay? And because Jace lets anything fly, and Denali doesn't let anything
Don't
fly.
drag Jace's name.
But no, that's kind of what I do. But I'm always the first person who watches it. And so I'm not going to go in every week and be like, hey, this isn't my movie. Somebody else picked one. A couple times we've had some drama where someone picked a movie and someone else tried to veto it. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to put myself in that position every week of being content police. That's why we have this little disclaimer that we can do.
All we're going to say is, audience at home, watch at your own risk, because this movie,
If this
has got
movie-
some fucking problems.
Was a baseball game, 9 innings would have been over in 30 minutes.
What?
Yes.
A lot of strikes.
A lot of
Oh,
strikes. Very good, Jace.
set me up. Oh, pretty good. That's good.
I mostly blame Jace for making me watch this, though. I'm just
Right.
throwing that out there.
Wait,
Yeah, so this
I'm
might
a
have been a
little
mistake.
upset. I'm a
This
little
might have been a
upset.
mistake on our part in like getting a guest on for a movie that we
Yeah.
didn't know the content of, and also having that guest watch it before all of us have watched it necessarily. Like,
That's really funny. I think that's great.
Well, I got the info for the video, like, and was it Stark Raving Mad? So I Googled
Yes.
that, and I find a TV show. I'm like, wait, what is this? Okay. Then I
wasn't
find some other movies that weren't this one. And I was like, okay, wait, is this the 2002 movie?
Yeah, did you
Find the
watch the TV
budget.
show before instead?
No.
Okay.
It took a while to find it, but then I saw the movie, I guess, and then the budget was, what, $5 million? And the return was like 50,000, and I thought, well, that's strange. And then it dawned on me this was a straight-to-video movie, and then I was like, oh no, I got to watch this now.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good, is when
And
it's
then
straight to video.
Yeah. And then I popped it in and was just immediately just shocked. So.
yeah, okay, we can't. I want to go on that so
reviews.
bad, but like,
Yeah,
the intro to this movie is amazing.
it is. We'll get into that. But Kaimi, I mean, you're coming on at an interesting movie in our kind of repertoire. And folks at home, if you haven't heard of Stark Raving Mad, and you're the type of person who just listens to movie reviews before seeing the movie, don't feel bad, because most people don't know what this is, because it never had a theatrical release, as you guys said. It's kind of like a black sheep in the Seann William Scott catalog. I think maybe they finished making it.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
aggressive statement, kind of.
It's kind of. Some of his movies are kind of like this. But then I feel like they saw the finished product and they were like, holy fuck, we cannot release this in the way that we did. But Kaimi, I was curious, do you have any experience with Seann William Scott as an actor? Were you familiar with him or?
Oh yeah. Shoot. Okay. What's the first movie I watched? Was Dude, Where's My Car?
Nice.
I was
nice.
hanging out in my my older brother's friend's house, and my parents threw me along with them just to like get me out of their hair, I think. But I must have been like 6 or something, and I did not understand anything. But I remember my parents were kind of mad when they found out I watched it, and I was like, "Yeah, it had funny birds in it." I don't think they realized
the
ostriches. Yeah. I don't think they realized that like none of the offensive material like entered my brain at all.
And that's kind of what I remember about that movie too. It's like I watched it as a kid, and then I watched it during the pandemic, and was like, "What the hell? This is an end of the world movie." Like that, like even the plot of the movie didn't make sense to me as a kid. Not like forget the inappropriate stuff.
Yeah,
and I think that's the Seann William Scott special, baby. He's like a fever dream that you have from your childhood.
Yeah, then he just pops up randomly in other movies. He kind of always has like this it's like cool guy vibe. Sort of
yes.
like yeah.
Yeah,
Cool
I
guy.
call that the shibby meter for me, is how cool he is in the movie to me in a very specific way. Have you seen any other Seann William Scott movies? Like, I'm assuming American Pie, kind of.
Oh, I actually,
those, or...
so I somehow did not watch American Pie until like a week ago. I didn't see a frame.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Crazy. I did not see a single frame of that movie for 28 years.
Oh my God.
I just gave it a go. And
I remember watching the FX version of American Pie after seeing like the original uncut, and I think it was 1 hour long. Like I think they cut out so much of that movie. Does it hold up? Does it hold up at all? Is thumbs up, thumbs down? I don't think
that's a complicated question.
Yeah, one that we will
Okay.
probably have to answer.
We will
by
be
the end of this
answering
season.
in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'd be excited to watch that one.
Yeah. Cool, man. So I mean, what, like, in your mind, I guess, kind of what does Seann represent to you? Like, does he elevate the movies? Like, what's his characters like? Like, what's your opinion of Seann, I guess, when you see him come on the screen? You can answer freely, It's like, Sean's not going to come on here and kick our asses yet.
He's a really nice guy. So like,
Seems like a nice guy. He could probably kick all of our asses, though.
Seems cool. Wholesome, funny jokes and stuff, I think. Or at least in my memory. I don't know.
This is all going on recording, and we're gonna flash a montage of his jokes right after that sentence.
I do not endorse any of those jokes. As a disclaimer. But he just got like really good, like I don't know what I call it, like cool older brother energy. You guys agree with that?
That's good. That's
maybe
the thing I've been looking for. Yeah.
It is kind of cool older brother energy. It's like the type of dude who would maybe like let you smoke a joint or something.
Yeah,
and
let
then
you
just
shoot
like
a
borrow your
gun.
Metallica, like
in a
CDs.
desert.
Yeah, he's got cool older brother energy. Cobb, big Cobb energy.
He might be like, no, never mind.
Yeah, I think we're going off the rails here.
Okay. So I was wondering with you guys, do you guys have a dream Seann William Scott role? Like, Kaimi, I mean, would you want him to be like a superhero? Is there a role you'd like to see him in? Because he hasn't been in a lot of movies recently compared to 2003. Where he was in like 7 a year.
Yeah, I haven't. Let me think of one. I'll pass it on to Ryan or Jace. Do you have one?
So like I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but I would have loved to see him as Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Yo, yes.
But also, at the same time, I was thinking, like, he's never been, like, the lead in a movie. He would do, like, great in,
Stark
like,
Raving
a
Mad.
quasi-action, maybe
Stark Raving
kind
Mad,
of, like,
3 other movies.
heist movie.
Okay, yeah.
And that question's been answered.
I have a problem, actually, with this right now. We don't. There are movies that we discuss that aren't that haven't been watched on the podcast.
Right.
Like Schindler's List. This. If you can pretend that those exist, you can pretend that the Seann William Scott movies we haven't watched yet, where he is the lead actor, exist. Ryan,
What are you talking about?
We're operating in the fiction that we don't know other movies exist outside of our repertoire. I feel like Seann would be good in one of those indie movies. I mean, kind of in the same vein as Goon, but like almost like he's starting a spaghetti shop or something. And, he's like, he moves back to his hometown and he's like a big business guy from the city and he wants to just make spaghetti all the time.
You mean like a Hallmark movie?
No, not like a Hallmark movie, but
That's
like
a pretty Hallmark movie.
It sounds like it.
Maybe he meets like a nice romantic partner who's like, spaghetti's stupid. My parents were killed by a spaghetti truck. And then he shows them the true meaning of spaghetti.
Yeah,
Is this
dude,
that movie with Ben Affleck?
Have you ever seen a Hallmark movie?
Okay, fine. Fuck that
Surviving
idea.
Christmas?
Yeah. Did he just describe spaghetti
I
surviving
didn't.
Christmas?
No.
Surviving Spaghetti.
Surviving spaghetti.
With Seann William Scott. It would work.
What do you?
That's not bad.
Kaimi, what do you think about pitching Christmas movies except you replace Christmas with spaghetti?
I mean, yes, I think so. I mean, I can see him doing some kind of like rom-com stuff. Has he ever done those?
Yeah, rom-com too.
I don't know.
Has he done a rom-com? And
Maybe
American
Role
Pie
Models?
does not count. Yeah.
No,
Role
that is
models?
not a rom-com.
Can I pitch something?
Yes.
Ghost of Spaghetti Past is just horrendous diarrhea.
What? So he has diarrhea like 13 times in the movie?
And there's a ghost, and they come up. It's like, I am the ghost of Spaghetti Future. This is what spaghetti will look like in the year 2030.
It's all NFT spaghetti. You have to have a password to access it. There's a Star Wars spaghetti special where all the characters just make meatballs. Is that you guys think Die Hard's a spaghetti movie?
Oh, that'd be good. They're just there for a spaghetti party.
Yeah, it's a tower that just sells spaghetti. What do you think about these jokes, Kaimi? Is this out of 10? Just one through 10. Just can we get a live rating of our
give it a
bits?
Give it a solid 8. Solid 8.
A solid
Nice.
8.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
A solid 2 meatballs.
I think he's
stacked
grading on a
top of each
curve.
other. That's pretty good. And we'll check in with you, kind of every once in a while on this podcast to kind of give us a live rating. We've been trying to implement some type of live chat, kind of like Twitch, but also just have one guy do it during us talking.
Okay, I want to ask this question partially to you two, but also to Kaimi. It's like, how much do you think that this podcast has helped your ability to watch terrible movies? Like this grade terrible? Because I was talking to Julie while we were watching this movie, and she made an admission against interest, so it's available to be put on the record. Is that she said that, this movie's not that bad. Like she's able to like finish this movie, whereas like when we watched 90-something movies ago, she was turned off by stuff in the Ben season, like Surviving Christmas.
Right,
And
which is fair. It's a terrible movie.
Terrible. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Like, in context. And I think that's a good point too, is like now I watch these movies and it's not that I appreciate them. It's that there's always like the grass is always less green. And I can always say like, it's not Airbud 5. It's not Thanksgiving is usually what I compare it to. Because remember we watched that weird Welsh New Year's horror movie? That wasn't even
Bloody New Year. Yeah,
that was worse than this.
Did you ever see Bloody New Year, Kaimi?
I have not seen that.
Of course not.
It's a terrible movie. It's made in the 80s.
Is it even like so bad that it's fun to watch, or just like
I think it
a
is.
slog?
Yeah, I think it is.
See, because I like watching bad movies like that.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like the Thanksgiving defense, right? Is that in a way it's funny if it's bad on purpose. And that can be a defense mechanism to where people go like, well, you don't get it. It's just bad on purpose. But they haven't shown us that they can make anything good, you know? So like this movie, I think is someone's like honest attempt at being good.
It was a $50 million attempt at being good.
What?
This was a $5 million attempt.
$5 million.
Oh, it was only 5?
Yeah, thank God. It was 50. I think someone would have died.
I want him to live in Jason's brain the last 10 minutes when he thought it was 50.
Thank God.
Where'd all that money go?
That studio had a gas leak.
Seann William Scott was about 4.9 million of it.
Yeah.
But I think so, right? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think being able to talk about bad movies for this long, or at least listening to other people talk about them, I'm able to see the humor in it. But I also think my toleration of bad content now has soured because of the amount of hours that I've watched bad content. I think now when I start seeing a bad movie or show, I get so angry because of the amount of life minutes I've used watching bad movies. I'm like, oh my God, I can't fucking do this right now. Like, this is not going to be turned into content. I cannot watch this.
Oh, you mean like outside of the podcast?
Outside of the podcast, yeah. Okay. I mean, I think in practice, maybe it is funny to watch a bad movie like this one, but not to give a review.
No, I had to power through this. Like usually if I like turn on a movie where there's parts of it that aren't working and it's like a solid just middle of the scale 5 out of 10, like I'll just turn it off after 20 minutes.
Oh,
that's interesting. So wait. Let's break this down a little bit. 5
That's a lot
out
of
of 10 might be your cutoff?
I mean, just absolutely mediocre. Yeah.
Your time's valuable, Kaimi. Like,
man, that maybe puts it in perspective because we rate movies below 5 all the time.
yeah. So you're like
how do you guys rate? I rate like, the bell curve, and 5 is like perfectly average. That's how I do it.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I kind of grade, like, if I do a 5, sometimes I will say that's average, but that is a failing grade to me because movies are supposed to move me.
I should look at.
That's why they call them movies.
What?
Because they move people. That's why they're called movies.
I think they're called movies because they move.
I'll agree
Like
to disagree.
moving picture show house.
Because
okay,
you look at Best
Nerd.
Picture this year, there was like 10 nominees for Best Picture. All right.
So I thought this was going to be. Yeah, I'm not paying attention to you. I thought this was going to be different, but like I'm on my Letterboxd account, and I have 8 movies that I've rated a half of a star out of 5. I thought it would be more, but they're all from this podcast. And then I have 15 at 1 star. And I think they're all from this podcast.
So Kaimi, will you watch like a 0 to 3 is like a movie
yeah,
you
totally.
might stick around for, but like a 3 to 5 or like a 3.5 to 5 is like a
it's like it's not bad enough to be
my time.
yeah, not even bad enough to be interesting, but not good enough to like just that middle ground between 3 to 7 is kind of
okay. So it's not like a cutoff. It's like you have an interest in the extremes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Interest in the extremes. Yeah, I mean, like, there's so much good movies and good shows out there. There's literally just piles and piles of 10 out of 10s nowadays. Mm-hmm. That's like you can't waste your time with these 5s. There's thousands of hours of 10 stuff.
I think it's culturally enriching. I think it's fun. It puts things in perspective. If you're just looking at 10 out of 10, you have no context. You have no context for how those things happen. What separates the wheat from the chaff, or is that the right metaphor? The cream from the crop.
The cream from the chaff, yeah. The spaghetti from the sauce,
Okay,
just
there we go.
Shit like
Loop
that.
around.
So,
The milk from the Hershey's. Those
milk
are both
from the
good
cow.
things. Kaimi, do you have one?
look around.
Just find anything on your wall
ping
and make
something.
a metaphor about it.
The can from the drink.
Yeah.
Nice.
There, you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm getting the hang of this.
There we go. That's improv, baby. You're doing it with us. This movie, I mean, not to spoil anything, but there's stuff that's involves heists, right? We said that earlier.
Yeah.
There's heist elements in this movie, and it got me thinking about safes and about heists. Like, is there a way that we can make safes more safe? Is there a way we can design a better safe or more security for like statues and shit and gold bars?
Yeah, mutually assured destruction.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
It just explodes.
I was thinking about like how all the lasers are visible in most movies. Maybe make them not visible anymore so that people will just pass through them.
I think that's illegal, dude, because then you'll get cut. Like you'll have a security guard who doesn't know they haven't been turned off, walking around in the morning doing the detail, sliced right in half.
Wait, you think the lasers
They're
slice
not
them?
slicey lasers, Ryan. They're point A to point B gate switches. What are you talking about?
They make the bomb go off. They don't slice people.
What?
A laser is just pointed at an optical sensor, and when it stops hitting the sensor, the alarm goes off. They don't cut anybody.
All right, this is too sciencey. What if the whole room?
You guys
was
aren't making
one-
any sense, man. And I've never seen anybody touch one in a movie.
That's
So how
true.
do you know that they cut people?
How do you know they don't?
I've seen Resident Evil where a laser did cut somebody once.
Boom.
What if the room was one laser? Like there was no spaces in between the laser, but it was just one fucking cut laser. It was one
How
beam.
does the laser not cut the opposite wall?
You pointed away from the wall.
It's got a mirror.
Okay.
Oh, a mirror. Yeah. So it'll
How
just
does it not cut itself, Ryan?
because you put another mirror.
That's infinite energy, baby.
It powers itself and cuts anybody. Okay, let's think of maybe some non-laser solutions.
I'm looking at
Oh, you
Kaimi.
cover the whole thing in like powdered donut powder.
Okay. Oh, and they don't want to get their...
You can't get that stuff off.
Yeah, and like thieves and like heist people, they're always wearing like black outfits.
Yeah.
and it'll get all over them, and they're like, "Oh shit, I got a powder."
And it would really slow them down. They have to sit there and suck on their fingers, you know?
Yeah.
How about instead of donut powder,
Yes.
Powdered peanuts?
Powder in case they're allergic.
What?
In case they're allergic.
Oh, kill out of one of every 100 thieves.
Yeah,
Just
there's a
Dunzo.
chance.
Is there like a big Venn diagram of thieves and people who are allergic to peanuts? Is that something that leads
They're
you
both
into
outcasts
like?
from society.
You think the trauma of not being able to eat like PB&J kind of like leads them to this path of stealing diamonds?
You know,
Dude,
this
I've got
is
two people in my office who have a peanut allergy.
Okay.
And I
Oh.
have this big window that goes into the hallway, like
Yeah.
an interior window. And my chair is kind of unfortunately positioned right in front of that window. And I eat like 2 Uncrustables a day.
Dude.
And sometimes I think like if I'm ever like pining at that Uncrustable,
Yeah.
the people who don't have peanut allergies, the people who can't eat peanuts, they must think I'm a fucking weirdo. But the people who have eaten an Uncrustable, they're
Yeah.
like, man, that dude's living.
You're eating an Uncrustable outside of a window.
Inside of a window. I'm like in a zoo exhibit.
Ryan turns and faces the window that people have to walk past.
No,
and he
it's a
just
side
goes,
profile.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good, Ryan. They're delicious snacks. Maybe we can leave a lot of distractions. Like, you know how those there's like those dog
Like
shows.
Uncrustables.
Yeah, like, and they have
I'm
like a
making
bunch
this
of
joke
toys.
long so you can't just edit it out.
They have like a bunch of toys and snacks all along this dog when they try to make him run the other side, and you
Dog?
leave all these distractions for the thief, and he'll keep wanting to play the Xbox and eat the donuts,
Ooh.
and he won't ever get to the diamonds.
I think if you literally combined the peanut powder with like some wheat, so
Okay.
you know you hit a gluten intolerant person,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
And then you know take out the other 90% of the population
Yeah,
with
but that's
some
not what
pollen in
gluten
there.
allergies do.
I mean, it'll give him like a tummy ache, maybe. Or,
They're
or
gonna
like,
get caught. What? Oh, yeah. You think they have
mean-
to shit on the floor right there? That they're not gonna get
Well,
caught?
At that point, you could just put poison in the room instead of just trying to target these
Yeah, that's
people who
kind
are
of what we're
allergic
doing, huh?
to things.
Is that illegal?
I think it is. To booby trap.
Yeah, booby. If you put it in
I
the
think
context of a
booby
booby
traps-
trap, yeah, I had to learn about that.
Okay.
Uh,
What if you increase the amount of guards 100-fold? Like, instead of having like one guard, who falls asleep and they sneak past him, you have 600 guards standing inside the safe at all times, and they rotate out. And you just there's so many guards that you actually can't even walk past them if you wanted to. They're all
like those
shoulder to
penguins.
shoulder.
boom.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
hired as a guard, and then I steal it during my rotation.
Or in this movie, you could just hire a single guard.
Yeah, there's a single guard for the bank.
Maybe a thought.
What if you make a door that's smaller than the diamond?
Oh,
They can't walk out with it.
yeah, nothing can break diamonds.
I mean, but a lot of things can break doors.
Is there anything else? Is there any other
Nope,
good ideas?
There's nothing else.
An
Let's move
octopus.
on. What?
An octopus.
Yeah.
Put an octopus in the room.
It's not like inherently a trap, but if you come in and try to steal the thing
Oh.
that the octopus is imprinted on, it might attack you.
You know,
pretty confusing.
we could put one of those green screens that
You
has like
said
attached to,
moving
like,
on. You don't get to participate
in
anymore.
front of a karaoke machine,
Okay.
and you could have the karaoke machine playing music, and then be like,
oh yeah.
and then there's a little video monitor, and you can see what the green screen is showing you, and it's like you're on stage.
Yeah. And then like there's the lyrics coming, and so as they're singing karaoke, there'll be a part in the karaoke lyrics that say your name and address here,
Correct.
and he'll accidentally say it into the microphone, and
Yes.
boom, you got him.
Got him.
You got him pinned. So that's pretty smart.
Okay, now we can move on.
Okay, I think we can stop a robbery pretty good. You guys want to get into the movie itself of Stark Raving Mad?
Yeah, it's fine. Whose was it?
Ryan,
Kaimi's.
didn't you?
I am not emotionally prepared for this, but we can jump in.
Wait, it was Jace's pick. That's right. And
Kaimi
Jason-
texted me and he said, I want to be a
Yes.
guest. We should watch this movie. And I
I
don't
did not do that.
know that you can disprove
oh, so
that.
Kaimi picked this movie. Do you want to say? Do you,
I hate everyone. No.
Jace? You say you the synopsis.
I'm actually not confident that I know what
The
happened.
only good thing about this movie is the premise.
Yes.
And the premise of this movie is that Seann William Scott is indebted to a gangster that has a terrible reputation for dismembering and otherwise mutilating people that work for him. And the gangster, who deals primarily with a triad, because this entire plot is centered in Chinatown, wants a statue of the Chinese god of fire and revenge, to complete a set of 4 statues that historically, if you had the last person to own them was an emperor during a certain dynasty. I don't remember
the Han
which one
Dynasty,
it was.
baby.
It was the Han Dynasty. Was the last person to own all 4 of them, and they thought he had mystical power. So he deals with the triad. He's like, get me the statue, because if I own all 4 of them, it's really going to fuck with their head. And then, really, they're trying to steal the statue out of a bank that's next to a nightclub, and they've got to beat the security of the bank in a few different, sometimes interesting ways to steal the statue and to set Seann William Scott's character free.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lore in this movie.
Yeah, and then
The whole movie starts with Sean flipping off a lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so could we go to the intro? Because, like, I put this movie on. I didn't know what was going on. And I thought that, like, maybe this was like a nature documentary thing, which I guess it kind of was, right? I thought maybe it was some character background.
Yeah, he used to hunt lions with his fists.
And
Yeah,
and then I also want to say, like, I thought we would never see a longer credit scene than in Final Destination.
Right.
Oh, yeah, wow.
But
That's what I'm saying.
This thing said it was an hour and 40 minutes long, and I think it was only like an hour and 20 minutes long because the credits.
That's what I'm saying. Movies used to have interludes. Like, they would have a fucking whole score, and you would see the whole damn cast before it even gets to the title sequence.
And he's number one, right? Of course.
Number one build, of course. Who could be above him?
Well, I thought he might have had an and starring or something, right?
Yeah, and it was interesting because he's staring down a lion. He's flipping it off. It's clear that it's like some kind of metaphorical dream sequence. And then it goes into this 90s techno intro monologue where it's like, and it's like flashing all these images in your face. It was a statement.
Yeah, a dumb statement. The color grading on that scene was unbelievable. I thought the whole movie was going to be like that.
It was a little wild. You can definitely say they made a stylistic choice. All right, that is for sure. There was style in this movie. This movie was actually released in 2002, January 13th. You guys mentioned it was straight to video. Only made $54,000 in a box office, probably in some small theater in the middle of Kansas or whatever. But this was a pretty big box office weekend, kind of like a historical weekend. And I wanted to see if you guys knew what was number one. On January 13th, 2002, number one in the box office. I'm almost afraid to even give you guys a hint.
Spider-Man.
It wasn't Spider-Man. Okay. What's an obtuse hint I can give you guys? It has an old man in it.
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
It's Fellowship of the Ring.
I was going to say like Shrek 2 or something.
Shrek 2. This was number one 26 days into the box office, made $4.6 million, followed by A Beautiful Mind in Orange County. But number 4 on this list, by the way, this movie is not on this list all the way down. Number 4 is another iconic movie. I want you guys to guess this, and I'll give you a hint. It has eggs in it.
What week?
This movie was in its 24th day. So what was that, like 4 weeks?
Has eggs in it?
It has eggs.
What kind of eggs?
I would say uncooked.
Alien.
It's not Alien.
Oh, that's a good guess.
It's a good guess, but this is 2002.
Evolution.
It's not Evolution. Okay, let me maybe narrow this down. It's got someone who's really smart in it. Some might say he's a genius.
Oh, A Beautiful Mind.
No, I just said that. It's about a really smart guy who's maybe fighting some eggs.
Oh, Schindler's List.
It's
Jimmy
not
Neutron.
Schindler's- It's Jimmy Neutron, boy
Let's
genius,
fucking go!
Jace, with your second box office game win.
I think that's the
Fighting the
first time I've
Yokians.
ever actually gotten a movie right.
I was pretty close with Schindler's List.
One of these weeks, it is going to be Schindler's List. Kaimi, you ever seen Jimmy Neutron, boy genius?
Oh, I have not.
What?
It's a great,
Just
it's a
the
great
TV show.
movie.
Dude,
Yeah.
we need to do Nickelodeon movie season.
Well, I was gonna pitch an egg movie season where it's movies
What?
about eggs.
That's
like-
good.
Could
You
you,
got
do that?
yeah,
Like
you can-
alien
you-
eggs? Like species eggs?
Yeah, so you can do Alien, you can do Jimmy Neutron, you can do
Oh, Pulp Fiction.
Does that have? Oh, it has eggs in it. Yeah, you're right. Pulp Fiction. Let me just look up egg movies real quick.
No, don't look up egg movies.
Look up egg movies.
So during the intro of this movie, I don't want to say the intro of this movie because the intro is freaking nonsensical. But like the first scene where a boy is talking, right? Doesn't he have like a long monologue to the camera, like a
It's
fourth
like
wall breaking
8
monologue?
Fourth wall breaking monologues, man.
During that whole time, I didn't listen to a word he was saying, right?
It was hard to like hold your attention because it's so distracting.
And all I was doing was I was judging his acting performance.
Same,
It's because
same,
I was
yeah.
like, dude, he's finally got it. He's finally got his one major role. Let's see if he hits it, dude. Let's see if the reason he hasn't been casted is some, Hollywood politics stuff. No.
Yeah. So let's
Like their opening decisions, like let's have him like peeing at a urinal, smoking a cigarette, and have him just look as cool as possible.
And that's one reason why I don't think it's like necessarily his fault. Like, even though I don't think his performance was good at all, like, I can't say anybody else's was, and I think that this might be like the worst script or directing I've ever seen.
I actually found a quote from Seann where he's like, they wanted me to just talk to the camera, but I really pushed for pissing in a toilet and smoking a cigarette with my back to the camera. So maybe it was his fault. That's not true. He didn't do this. Yeah, like, it was hard not to judge his performance because he's talking right at you, right? Do you guys think he really nailed that opening monologue?
I mean, nailed, like, if we move the goalposts?
I really feel like he maybe had it in him to do it. Like, I think he does have the
ball
skill
got
to
off
do it.
the ground.
Yeah, but I think the director or whoever was doing that scene needed to have him do, like, another take because I was not buying the rogue badass from this dude. Like, his delivery was completely wrong for that monologue.
I was comparing him to, like, Chris Pratt, right? Like imagine if Chris Pratt kind of, like, did this, like, tongue-in-cheek monologue to the camera,
Right.
but he has to kind of, like, rely on his personality and his wit and his way of, like, emphasizing on certain words.
It's like he could have leaned on his like humor chops to
that's
really
what I
sell
mean.
these.
Yeah, I guess that's what I
But
mean. Yeah,
they're selling him, kind of trying to rebrand Seann retroactively as this dangerous badass. You don't know what he's gonna do next, but it wasn't delivering.
yeah.
For
And
me
meanwhile, in his career, most people are like, "Isn't that dude from Dude, Where's My Car?"
right.
They're not like building on this idea of him being a badass.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a tough start. I think they could have done it with some different direction here. But right after that, we see some other actors in this movie, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And as soon as they start talking, I'm like, oh no. The acting is so atrocious.
Ricky,
also, I'm like,
the
oh,
club
yeah.
owner, the DJ.
Can I actually read from my notes here?
Yeah, please.
This is right after the monologue. Quote, "What is this script?"
Yeah. No, right? I think my third note is, did this ruin his career? like, conversely, my first thought was like, okay, maybe he didn't have the chops to make it. Maybe this movie was his shot at being a lead man and he just didn't work. Second thought is like, okay, maybe he signed on to the wrong project and like the writer of this tanked his career.
Yeah.
He got the rundown after this, and
Oh, he did?
that was a huge success. Yeah.
Well,
Rundown
03 was his
2004, right?
biggest year.
Oh.
After this movie came out. But yeah, I mean, I agree. This was like watching a porno parody of a better movie that doesn't exist.
That's what I want to talk about. So you asked what I think his best role could be or what role I'm envisioning him in. And this movie remade
going?
in 2023 sensibilities, I legitimately think this could be one of the better heist movies.
It could have been cool. Conceptually, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Jace, you mean like, because there's like the Fifth Element style like subplot to it, right? Where they have to like get these things and figure out this lore.
Yeah,
what you
now that you
mean?
talk, you're kind of talking me out of it. So, actually, the droning techno really was probably the worst part of this movie.
That's another note I had.
Yeah.
I guess this movie is just going to be like this the whole time. Just
Dude.
Just an hour and 20 minutes of techno.
Were you on your surround sound, or did you
I
have your
had
speakers on?
surround sound headphones.
Oof.
But yeah, it was just
That's way
pounding.
worse. I was going to text the group. So this goes back to our conversation about like me not calling it audible, in that I didn't want to text you guys too much, even though I was having the time of my life watching this movie. I don't want to text you too much and taint your perspective of it going in, because I went in completely fresh. But I was going to say like, Jesus Christ, I'm going to turn my surround sound system off because like it was nonstop, guys. Even though you have a movie set in a club, you don't have to have the club music playing the whole time. And if you do, please license actual club music. Don't just like make your own.
I actually liked the 90s electronica in this movie. I thought it kind of added to the vibe. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think it was annoying. I thought it was kind of cool.
Like, well, no, okay. I think the difference here is I liked the music. I didn't like when they were in the hallway and my speakers were going boof, 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 boof in my ear for no reason. And it's like,
I guess when you have cheap TV speakers pointed directly at the opposite wall, you don't notice it.
Okay, yeah.
But when you just have that music at that level, just so high, like the high energy the whole time, it's just, I don't know, it's just exhausting. Yeah.
And it can fuck up the pacing. You know, like I always think about and sometimes talk about how I view the pace of a movie, and like not only in scenes that have rising tension or lowering tension, but like where the tension is relatively. And the music serves a great purpose of, you know, letting the viewer know, because you need multiple things to tell you where, like, what the tension's like. And if tension is high all the time and it's not a freaking Guy Ritchie movie, then it's not gonna work. Like, it takes a lot of skill to write a script that has the tension at maximum the whole time. And this movie, I think, you know, it went from one hijink to the next. And the music is an example of how they didn't understand how to play the down moments. The down moments are like the anchors in a high tension movie, and it lets the audience breathe. Sometimes in a down moment, you don't want like important dialogue explaining the plot, because the audience also needs to maybe divert their eyes or maybe like let their central nervous system reset for a second. And in this movie, I totally agree. Like, the music was high when it should have been low, and the dialogue was low when it should have been high.
In the movie's defense, they did have the club owner be like, the music's too fucking loud. You gotta turn that shit down. It's gonna be too loud for everybody.
Well,
and the director's like, we're gonna put that in there to make up for that. Trust me, bro.
You're right, but he just didn't want to get shut down by the police or like the FBI agents who were in the club. But
yeah, what was
they
up?
were in. It was a different thing.
Okay, I appreciated that. I appreciated that. There were FBI agents in the club the entire time that were very suspiciously searching for something. They were doing their job. And then it's kind of like, I guess, maybe a red herring, because in the end, they were just there trying to bust some dude who was selling drugs.
The FBI agents in this movie added like this tension that I didn't think really needed to be there. But like, there's a recurring gag in this movie where Sean's team are like drilling through this wall. And they're like drilling and trying to explode the wall, which takes about 90% of the movie. But like, everyone and their uncle ends up down in that basement at one point. They don't even put like a chair in front of the door or lock it. Like, the FBI people come through, like all these random club goers, the Chinese food delivery guy comes through.
That was
and
funny.
which is it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. I like what one of Sean's lines was that this would go down in the books as one of the worst heists ever done by a human being. And I think it was kind of fun in the movie's defense to watch that unfold.
Yeah, but fun, but not fun-y, right? Like, my view of it was that this was just a compilation of SNL skits from when Seann William Scott hosted SNL. And they were just like, no, this is not funny at all. Let's just book them. And they just edited it together like a movie. Because there was that one scene with it. Yeah, when the FBI agents come down to the basement. What, Chase?
Had Seann William Scott hosted SNL?
I do not think so. And
I don't know.
When the FBI agents come down to the basement, there is like a 3-minute long scene where the pizza delivery guy, who's not supposed to be there, is pretending to be an electrician, right?
That was funny. That was
For
good.
a couple minutes, they just look at each other and nothing is said on the screen, right? It's like the falling scene in the rundown. Like, it's longer than anything that parodying it should be. So like, it feels like, it literally felt like dialogue was edited out of that scene.
I think so. And Sean has been on SNL 2001.
Oh.
Hosted or been on. Is there a difference?
He's hosted, yeah. Usually they don't.
A year before this.
Before this movie.
Wow.
So maybe they did take from the real Ryan. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of weird edits, but also there was a lot of whooshing in this movie. Like, you can take a shot with every whoosh, where it was like whoosh, whoosh, and then things would flash.
Yeah.
And then,
Had the audible record scratch sound
Yeah.
thing in there.
And
It was like-
it would go back and forth. So there's that scene, right, where he's trying to leave the room where they're doing the drilling. He just turns around to leave, and then the film just skips to when the door's closing. Like, he just disappears like a fucking ghost, right?
right.
We had to stop. We stopped for like 10 minutes because me and Julie were laughing so hard. Like, we lost it. And because I don't know whether that was purposeful or not.
I don't think so. I don't think a lot of time.
Like,
was put into
when
this.
the movie's that bad, where you can't tell if it's funny because, or like kind of a stylistic choice, or whether they are literally incompetent and they didn't shoot him walking out of the door. So they just have to like let it close on its own and they film that.
Yeah, there was moments like that, but then there was also stylistic choices that were intentional.
Right.
Because there was a part where Seann William Scott, in a threatening way, grabs the DJ's balls and starts squeezing them. And there's a triple take of, like, triple replay take of him grabbing the guy's balls. Like, you're supposed to, like, do different angles of that like it's an explosion.
Yeah, but like, what came first? Did they not shoot enough B-roll and then be like, oh crap? Maybe if we just like make this look like it's a record skipping, the people won't realize.
It was kind of like watching things like you wouldn't download a car.
Huh.
You take that aesthetic and apply it to a whole movie. That's
Yes,
this
dude,
movie.
that's good.
Yeah.
You guys ever own like one of those plastic balls that would like expand and like?
Oh yeah. Those those science
Okay.
balls. Yeah.
I kept seeing this guy in the movie, and it was just kept taking me out of it. Like, just one of the extras, he's just jumping up and down, expanding his ball. Like,
What?
you didn't see that guy?
What are you talking about?
I saw that every
I
single
was
time it
focused on
happened.
that for the entire time.
Is that a rave toy? Because I've been to a lot of raves, and like I've never seen someone with one of those expando balls. They're like, choo, choo, choo.
You've been to a
That's all
lot
I could
of
think was
raves?
like.
Yeah, I'm in college, man. I went to
Imagine like
raves.
going to the club and you're like, oh, I gotta bring my expando ball.
Yeah.
You get to the front of the line, and the security guy's like, what the hell is that? It's like, it's my little ball. It goes like this. It's like, you're not bringing that in here.
I think it was a casting call, and they're like, bring rave toys, and some guy brought his science ball, and they were like, yeah, it's good enough. Just fucking keep it. It looks.
I want to bring one of those like cylindrical squishy things that you can get at the arcade.
Yeah.
That like have like the little seahorses and stuff in them. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the things you can't grab.
I think I'd bring like a grown tube if I was going to a rave. Like,
That's
those ones?
pretty good.
The what?
I'd bring 2 of those. A grown tube?
What is that?
You know, well, you turn it upside down and there's something in it that goes, whoa. You turn it back right side up and it goes, whoa.
Wait,
You
but
can't have
could you
something
hear that?
Makes
In a
more
rave?
noise in a rave. You can't have the gimmick be making noise. It has to be visual in a rave.
Wait, Kaimi, would you go up to somebody, like, push
Yeah.
their ear hole closed and then put it up next to it and go,
Hey, check this out. Check this out. It's like, I'm at a concert, dude. What the fuck?
That's funny, dude. That's a good.
I would bring like a battery pack and like one of those glow orbs that where you stick your hand on it and it makes lightning, you know, when it comes out.
Oh.
That's like a pretty untapped rave market, like a battery
how
powered
many
glow
batteries do you need to power that?
I don't
You're
know
got
how
a
much
car
energy
battery
that is.
on your back? You're like,
Touch the globe.
No.
somebody accidentally grabs both of the connectors on the back.
Did you guys notice, speaking of the rave scenes, early on in this movie, like one of the first rave scenes, it's just a green screen, right? When he's sitting at the bar talking to his friend for like the first time, and he's like in the club, and there's people dancing in the back. I think the whole thing was a green screen.
I didn't notice that.
The only time it's not, the rave isn't a green screen is when he's walking through the crowd, and then it's just like people in a hallway.
So did they use footage of the rave on the green screen to...
Whenever he wasn't on screen, it was just like random footage of like people dancing in the rave. They had that footage and they used in this movie repetitively. And then they played that in the background on a green screen when Seann William Scott started to talk.
Is that why I keep seeing the ball guy? Because it's just
Maybe
the
it's
same
just on a
footage?
loop.
They definitely had the ball guy Kaimi in scenes where he was doing the ball differently or at different locations.
What?
It's
Yeah.
just 7 hours of this guy playing with his ball, like the entire night.
That's why I want to ask Denali, like, do you think
Yeah.
this movie would have been a good movie to be an extra on?
Oh, I mean, I would love to do a rave scene. I mean, honestly, like as someone who works in the industry, please. This scene was probably done in like a day, you know, or like where they would just have like everyone show up. They pay like fucking 300 people to like dance for 8 hours, and they get tons of just footage of doing it.
Well, not
and
tons.
then they just and they taste it over everything else.
They-
I mean, it might have been cool. It looks low budget. I don't know if like be good snacks or.
It's lower budget than the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where you go to a rave.
That's
You know.
true. I mean, it was a pretty good set piece. Like I will say, like there was a
Yeah.
lot of costumes.
I'd agree.
Pretty expansive. It was like multi-leveled, and then everyone had like rave toys. That was like a pretty good.
I don't agree,
I was
man.
surprised by
I
it.
didn't. I didn't feel like in some rave or party scenes, it feels huge, like Blade or the new Mission Impossible. There's like these huge, expansive scenes, and someone has to like push their way through an entire crowd. And this, he just like leaves the room where they're drilling, and in 2 seconds is like at the bar where they have all their conversations, like cheers.
I thought it looked expansive. There were 3 floors. There were people pretty well packed. And I think that the separate thing of this is like, I don't know that the movie's trying to give us the thought that it's going to be at like a shoulder-to-shoulder rave, because it was like, oh, this club is never open this late. Obviously, the guy doesn't want to be open. They posted they posted flyers for not DJ, fuck you.
Was it DJ Maxx?
Something like that, yeah.
It's supposed to be like TJ Maxx, right? And then it's supposed to be... I mean, there was a shot that definitely sold me. I think that was like the first panning shot of the whole thing, and I was like, oh, it's kind of sick. But I will agree, like, those other scenes where he's walking through, it didn't really sell me. Like, the scene where he's pulling a snake off the FBI agent's face.
Okay. So the snake scene.
Right.
Maybe my cognitive abilities were not at 100%. But why was there, like, what led up to there being a giant anaconda in the middle of this club and nobody caring?
Well, there was, you remember one of the performers said they had a snake. You know, like they were going to bring it on stage, but they probably lost it. Do you remember, Ryan? You're looking at me weird.
I don't remember.
Oh.
Ryan, how could we trust any of your criticisms? You don't remember this movie. Yeah, I mean, there was like a hint at a snake earlier that there was going to be there. But I mean, it was kind of just like a random gag. And then Seann saves the FBI agent from the snake by beating it in submission with a giant dildo.
And then absolutely yeeting that snake into the next state.
Into the crowd. Like the crowd screaming as a fucking anaconda just comes over.
I did actually really laugh when later on in the movie the snake's there again. He shows up with the giant dildo.
Yeah.
But like
that got a laugh out of me.
I was just so confused. I think I did laugh because like I didn't understand what was going on, and that just kind of my nervous, impulse. But also like, don't those snakes weigh like 200 pounds?
Pretty heavy. I've never thrown a snake, but it does not look like a super fun time if you have one land on you.
The continuity of that gag where we see the drag show performers come in, and then they're like, oh yeah, I think that's when they mention for the first time that there's a snake. And then the guy be like, hey, have you seen Chad? And the guy's like, who the fuck? Why would I know who Chad is? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And then Chad ends up being the snake. That was,
Okay,
that was some
that's what I
payoff for
thought
me.
was going on.
And he's trying to talk
And then you
Chad
guys
down.
said someone mentioned a snake, and I was like, what?
So I think they mentioned a snake performer, and then we get the isolated scene with the guy who owns the snake.
So we
and just
all
calls
agreed
it
there was a
Chad.
snake.
The continuity was. I don't remember seeing the snake again. Like Kaimi said.
Well, there was snake cam.
Okay, Ryan doesn't remember this movie. It's okay. So,
I have to rely on my notes.
One thing that was kind of confusing me about this movie, I mean, it doesn't matter, but like the club owner, they like tie him up and they put him through this like BDSM torture thing. But like the club owner, he knows all of them are in on the heist. And this doesn't get resolved at the end of the movie. Like, he's just going to implicate all of them.
Did he?
Like, he got assaulted by Seann. Like, he got punched in the face and hit with a bottle. And he's like, I know you're fucking up to something. And then in the news, there's going to be like, some guy drilled through the basement of this club into a bank. And he's going to be like, oh, I couldn't have been Seann who punched me in the face and acted super weird over the past 24 hours.
Yeah, I think this kind of goes back to what I want to talk about is that I think this is a faction movie. Right?
A faction movie? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Is it a faction
we talked
movie?
about this. What are you talking about? We talked about this 3 episodes ago.
You said you like movies with factions.
Yeah.
So it's a movie with factions in it.
Yeah, faction movie.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Like The Rundown
so
is a faction movie.
I've never heard it said like that. I think I was confused. So it's like different gangs and
Okay,
and
we can
people
edit all that
working.
out. And so I sound smart. So this is a faction movie, right? And it just wasn't clear about which faction, was working with each other, and the club owner kind of was his own mini faction, I guess, in some way.
You're saying it like it's a genre? Is a faction movie a genre?
We can't go back into this because then I'll sound like a dummy.
I'm confused.
We can, yeah. I don't know that I'm not on the same page.
Star
guys,
Wars a faction movie?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Dude, he gets it.
Yeah.
When there's different
isn't every
Fast
movie
and the Furious.
a faction movie?
No, Fast and the Furious faction movie. There's different sides, and they all want a piece of it. And
every
the main
movie is a
character's
faction movie if there's a protagonist and an antagonist.
The main character is like, hey guys, I'll get what you want. You guys want this. Think about The Departed. You guys want this. You guys want this. You guys want this. And the main character is responsible for tricking them all.
Yeah. That was fun. Like seeing his interplay between the different gangs.
I was criticizing it. But yeah, you can totally think it's fun.
Okay, I was trying to help you out, Ryan, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you didn't like how there was too much going on.
I like faction movies. I just thought this movie did very poorly.
Like kind of balancing the different elements.
I think the problem was this movie didn't understand what a faction movie is.
So you're saying it like it's a thing. So what is a faction movie then? Like what,
We've just done this. It's where there's multiple groups of people and they both want the main character to do something. Usually those interests are at odds. And the main character has to usually pick a side or figure out how to cheat them all.
So you're telling me that Ella Enchanted was a faction movie?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So you didn't think they did it well, basically, is the thesis, like, balancing these different elements and making it compelling,
right?
Which I agree with too. Like, it was hard to get invested, I think, in the danger of this movie, especially with the appearance of the second gang leader, where he's like, "I know you, man. You should have stayed the fuck out of Chinatown." And it was just like he appeared too late, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Like, I don't need another guy in here." Another thing about Gregory, who's the main villain in this movie. He allegedly kills Seann William Scott's brother, which is why this is all being set in motion. Sean's trying to get revenge, but also pay off his debts. Gregory had like the worst evil guy voice I've ever heard. Amber was actually walking by when I was watching this, and she was like, "What the fuck is that voice?" Where he's like, "You're gonna be working for me now, Sean." Like, he has this voice that you do when you're evil in a movie. And it was so hammy. I couldn't.
It was hard to pick his brain too, because like in some scenes he would be a total badass, and if you let one word slip, he would, his thugs would beat you up. Then you get Ricky, who is like Seann William Scott's friend, to just prattle off some conspiracy to him. And Gregory doesn't do anything. He just sits there.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that like Gregory's not really that big of a badass, and Seann William Scott just like doesn't like him, or he's like really gullible.
Yeah, Gregory's character, I just did not buy it. It was just another element, and it kind of just like made me think this whole movie. I always make the lead poisoning joke, or like everyone has a gas leak, but it really did feel like there was something wrong with everybody in this movie. Like if I walked into a room and everyone was talking like this, I would ask for them all to get MRIs.
Right.
Like, it just did not.
We haven't talked about this either, but I feel that especially with the rest of the crew. Okay, so let's get this straight. This is a heist movie where Seann William Scott is the leader, doesn't really take part, but he's the leader of a group of ragtag criminals who know how to get into banks and steal stuff. And they're terrible. They're the worst criminals on the planet.
Yeah.
And instead of like that being brought up for laughs, their inability to perform the job, that's placed as an obstacle for Seann William Scott to overcome, right? Like the driller likes to get high and get really drunk, and he accidentally takes some substances he didn't want to. And so he can't drill anymore. Okay, well then this other harmful stereotype does something that's, maybe not the best to display on a movie screen. And Seann William Scott has to take that guy's job over. And I thought it was clever. It was like something I had never seen before. But at the same time, probably for good reason. Like, that's not a very compelling story arc.
Like him having to overcome the incompetence of everybody on his team.
And
Armageddon
playing
style.
it up serious.
Like, yeah. I thought so too. There was points where his team was so incompetent where I was like, what is the point of me watching this right now? Like the guy with the Chinese fish thing where he just keeps like fainting. And I was like, why does he keep picking these people? Like no one was holding it together. And it went beyond comedy for me where it just became frustrating.
What do you guys think about the idea? Like the way they were going to pull this off was that they were going to time the charges, the bombs, with the beat drop. Yeah. And so he had to tell the DJ to play a certain song so that the bombers could time it well, right?
I thought that was cool.
I thought that was cool.
Wild. It's like, but like it was so wild because he was telling him to play it at a certain time, and the guy was like arguing with him. He's like, "Oh, fuck you, man," and like they're kind of going back and forth, and he had to time it down to the millisecond of when that drop was gonna hit.
Yeah, maybe antagonizing the guy that you need to do a specific job by grabbing him by the balls and threatening to kill him isn't the way you should go about that.
Yeah. And then the bass drop gets fucked up like 2 more times in this movie. Plays the wrong CD. They just say fuck it at one point and they just detonate it again anyways.
Yeah, it didn't really like. Also, the beat drops in a song can't be heard like 10 blocks away, but a bomb going off is going to shake the ground.
Yeah. Well, it's going to sound like a super sick drop if the whole
it's going to make the club more crowded.
Yeah, the whole plot of this, like the logic of everything, the drilling into the wall, like seeing the visible lasers as he goes through and then zip lining across and then leaving all of their shit just laying around as they flee the crime scene with their fingerprints all over it. Like, in a heist movie, I don't care if it's supposed to be a comedy heist movie or whatever the fuck this was, it's got to feel airtight to me for me to like think it's like a fun movie. I've got to believe like these guys are smart as fuck and they're going in and it's going to be a sick ass like gig they're doing. But if I don't buy that, shit doesn't work. It wasn't working for me.
Yeah, I agree. Because like I especially like heist movies where the characters are ahead of you, and that usually what happens is you get one rendition of how it's going to go down, right? And then you're watching it and the bad guy starts catching on. And then you're like, oh no, it's going to happen. And the bad guy's like, I gotcha. Oh no, it's revealed that the main characters had a different plan that's on another level. And then usually you get like a rewind or like a flash to a different location where they're doing something different. Like that's classic Ocean's 11. But in this movie, we didn't have any of those snaps. And I like this metaphor where like, you have the audience in front of the characters and they're like, it's the sudden change. So everybody's put on the same level. That's what makes it interesting. This movie, it was just the characters stumbling through obstacles. So there was no sort of like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to do next.
You feel like these characters were miles behind the audience.
Right.
Until suddenly at the end, they're like, oh, by the way, we stole the money instead. And you're like, oh, cool, Seann. It's really cool you did that instead of the statue.
Is there any clues at all, like during the movie, for that switcheroo? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think it just happened.
We know that the money's there, I guess. Maybe that's what they...
They give you one little droplet.
Yeah, I just didn't feel like there was any indication other than Gregory saying, like, oh yeah, my safe deposit box is right next to the statue.
Why
so make
would
sure
you
you
say
don't,
that?
Make sure you don't drill into that one.
Why would you say that?
Seann, I got loads of money. I know you hate me. I got loads of money in that safe. So make sure you drill the one next to it.
To be fair, I'm fine with evolving character motives. And if his crew wasn't as incompetent as they were, and they pulled off the heist without a problem, he may have just given him the money. But then Gregory, on top of killing his brother, which we find out at the end, really did decide to interject himself into the job and be a total prick about it. And I have problems with that character motive. Like, Gregory is just a big man-child, I have to have it my way type of gang boss who is, kind of weirdly able to like pick somebody up and force him against a window, even though, he looks scrawny. And I think, so that kind of bothers me. Besides the fact that Gregory looked fly as fuck. Can we,
He looked fly
Those
as fuck.
frosted
Cool
tips
hair.
go hard.
Yeah, Gregory looked sick. I'd be like, and
He looked like
small
an anime
glasses.
character.
Yeah,
with the glasses and everything. I also, why didn't Seann just like drill a hole in Gregory's safe deposit box and then just put the statue in it? He didn't have to meet Gregory later. He could have just put it in his bank box.
Well, I think the implication of that is that the bank would theoretically know who owns what.
What? It secretly put it in his box.
Yeah, they would be like, James, your statue isn't in your box anymore. It's in Gregory's. How did that happen?
And Gregory could be like, oopsie, plausible deniability, baby.
Finders keepers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Wait, does that mean a security guard at a bank could just finders keepers
No,
anything
finders
they want?
keepers is the letter of the law, man.
It is a letter of the law. The thing about like Gregory and Seann William Scott's brother in this movie, I had that spoiled, okay? And I know like that's not a big deal.
I had it spoiled by the absolutely terrible writing. You can see exactly where they were going with it the first time it was mentioned.
I think like it was the streaming service, maybe it was on Tubi, where they had the description where he's like, working for the guy who killed his brother. Seann is stealing a statue. And I was like, oh. And I'm watching it and he's like, I don't know who killed my brother. And at the end, he's like, I knew all along it was the boss guy. And it's like the music swells. I was like, what the fuck, man?
The terrible implication of that is that the person who wrote that blurb had to have watched this movie.
Did you guys catch the name drop? Like, that's in all of Sean's movies at an hour 20 minutes. I didn't think they were going to do it.
Looking directly into the camera during a fourth wall break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
I caught that.
I didn't catch that.
My eyes rolled back so far.
Yeah. Because so
also,
far,
I gotta talk about that because how many fourth wall breaks did we have before that with Sean? Like 6 or 7?
Oh,
Like, dude, where's my car?
But like that's what I thought that the rule was like. Sean is allowed to break the fourth wall and talk to you about stuff. But then suddenly, what's the weird pants guy name?
The Ricky guy, yeah.
Suddenly Ricky can do that, and he's like on a conveyor belt.
That was kind of cool, the conveyor belt, yeah.
It was a cool shot, but
It was a cool shot.
I was like, I didn't know he could do that.
He hasn't done that in the rest of the season, right? Like, this was the first time we've
well,
seen
no,
him.
that's what I was
There
saying.
were
I
like
think
8.
He did it in Dude, Where's My Car? With the bomb at the very end. He's like, doesn't he look at the camera and be like, I thought watching those nature documentaries would not pan out to be anything.
I thought he just says it out loud.
Well, time to rewatch it.
We got to rewatch it. I'm not doing it.
Can we talk about how both these characters like nature docs and can speak Chinese?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the continuity. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, where does this fit into Seann William Scott's lifeline? Continuity arc?
Yeah, I think this is a direct line from Dude, Where's My Car? From judging by Kaimi's notes.
Okay, so...
That's why he goes down into the rundown, because he gets all this money, and then he wants to go look for more treasure.
Okay, so we have Final Destination. He's in high school. Dude, Where's My Car? He's a stoner bum, fresh out of high school, no prospects. Then we have Evolution. He enrolls in community college and helps save the Earth from alien invasion. And then in... What was the other movies we watched? Bulletproof Monk.
Bulletproof Monk, where he is also really into, like, Kung Fu in Chinatown. Like, there's a lot of weird...
I feel like that's after this. So he goes... So this movie...
No, this man can't go back to Chinatown after he commits this heist.
Oh, so it's Bulletproof Monk. And that's how... Oh, because, he's pretty down on his luck. He's living in the upstairs of a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then The Rundown, or this one? This one?
I feel like The Rundown is before this one, because I feel like that's how he gets his gang connections, is from The Rundown. Because his dad's in the mob, and he's on the run from his dad, and he has to start over. And now he's working fully in the mob zone in this movie. We got a full continuity, and he did get his head reattached after having it sliced in half when he was 17. And that's the Seaniverse. It's a pretty wild life that he had. Like, what is with Sean and having like fetishization of Chinese culture in like half of his movies?
As even on his neck.
First note for me is like, I see this. You see the script, and you text us right after that, and you're like, something fucky's about to go down.
Yeah, I see the lettering on like the opening title thing, and I'm like, why are they doing like this Asian style lettering again? Like, am I going to be subjected to this? And then it's panning through Chinatown, and I was like, oh my God, please no. And there's even a Chinese food ordering scene, almost in the same vein as Dude, Where's My Car? Where I'm like, are you fucking serious right now?
I was expecting a joke to happen during that one.
Yeah.
Where he's like, and then put it in a bag and give it to me so I can eat it. I was waiting for that.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
It basically happened.
I think it would have made the movie like maybe a little more entertaining, not better.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair comparison. Should we get into the reviews? Because we got 4 to do.
One more comment. And I think it might have been, I don't know if it's, well, it is tropic of the bad boy character, but the tight black t-shirt without sleeves, heavily featured after the pre-heist in this movie, but also reminds me of like Ryan Reynolds in Blade, which I think is after this. And when did the sleeveless tight black t-shirt become the
shit? I think post 99, definitely. Like
it was
we're looking at
the guitarist for System of a Down.
Oh, that guy.
In 1998, he really set the fashion tone. You guys never mind. There was a meme I saw on Instagram that made that joke.
Yeah, we're looking at like kind of the new metal post-electronica phase where everyone's like blacked out, looking like the Matrix. And honestly,
the Matrix. You might have just explained it. Just explained it.
Did they do shirtless though? I feel like maybe that was the Kickstarter, but like, you know, and then everybody started really getting into taking like nerdy boys and giving them steroids and getting them big pythons, and then they had to have their arms out. Like, you didn't want to see Keanu Reeves with his arms out.
I mean, he looked great, dude.
In
in a tight black t-shirt in Point Break.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, right.
Before we do the review, we were dancing around this, and we're not going to get into it. But folks at home, there was a lot of shit we didn't talk about in this movie. There was a lot
Can't mention entire characters.
Yeah, there was a lot of seriously problematic content in this movie that was so egregious that we're not even going to talk about it, unlike what we usually do. So just don't see this movie, okay? Just listen to our review, and if you really have to, it's on Tubi.
Don't watch it for free on Tubi, unlike the rest of the movies we've ever watched.
I couldn't even find this on Amazon for rent.
Right.
Yeah,
they've wised
That's why
up.
I watched it on Tubi.
Jeff Bezos was like, I'm not streaming this. Listen, the union stuff I do is pretty bad, okay? But once this gets through my streaming thing, they're going to come for me.
The last
This will be the final straw.
I gotta tell you guys too, is like it might have been like 5 minutes after I finished watching this movie, and I'm like, oh, thank God it's over. And then Jace texts me, it's like, hey, we have to call an audible on this one. Just make your guest watch this whole shitty movie.
We're watching Ice Age, dog. Maybe our audio will get lost.
Yeah,
And we'll have to re-record it
I did
anyways.
have a note in here saying that Julie said perhaps we should warn Kaimi. And
Too late.
and I think, but that's the thing is too, that's what struck up the conversation about gaining resistance is that like, you know, you've watched a lot of the movies we have, right? Or at least you've been listening to a lot of the episodes.
Oh, I probably watch a quarter of them.
Yes.
Or I have
So-
watched
Oh
Oh my
half of them.
God,
I
you
think.
watched some of these movies along with
I
our...
watched
Yeah.
the last thing he wanted.
Oh,
No.
God.
That was okay. This
No.
movie's better than that.
You didn't
What?
I
you
will
watched
say-
that?
Okay, I watched 20 minutes of it, but it was just
Kaimi-
incomprehensible. Like, I don't even know.
I feel like we owe you money.
Oh my
like I feel like
God.
we owe you some some reparations here for subjecting you to that.
It was terrible. Yeah.
Also, that same conversation, I do have to admit, it brought up the idea of a deli dude.
Oh no.
Yeah, deli dude, for those who don't know, I'm now obligated to say that.
Yes, we have to say it every time.
There are a band of superheroes, and they work out of a deli in Brooklyn. And their superpowers are tangentially related to the deli. And I thought the guy who runs the video rental counter in the back of the deli, he could be Blockbuster Man, and he could have resistance to really shitty movies. And so, like, if you put him in, like, a crime or something, nobody's going to be able to distract him by playing a terrible movie.
Wait, so this is operating on the assumption that someone will be trying to play a terrible movie at our superheroes.
Yeah, or, like,
to
distract him with
them.
commentary about one.
And so these heroes are really susceptible in this fiction,
Yeah.
right?
He
To
could,
be
like,
fair.
he could solve crimes at movie theaters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I was thinking like his bad guy could be a telepathic dude who projects scenes from this movie
you go.
into your mind.
There you
And
go.
he's just,
Does this movie do psychic damage, you think?
yeah,
It
Yes.
did to me. I almost choked, you guys. I almost
emotional
choked.
damage.
I was eating chickpeas and I almost choked. But I also noticed that Blockbuster Boy would have been way better name, but I already wrote down man. And so and I want man instead.
Blockbuster boy.
I like Blockbuster Man because it's you expect the boy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a type of character too that you have to make seem kind of young. They're like, no, it's Blockbuster Man.
Yeah, there you go.
Is he doing a bit? What is Blockbuster? Is he doing like is that his like alter ego or something?
I don't want to be sued by Blockbuster. Hey, wait, are the deli dudes set in 2023? Because I actually kind of get like the vibe that they're like a 1990s
I kind of imagine
set of
Daredevil era.
superhero. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
In my head, it was 90s, I will say.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
good.
It's definitely pre-cell phones because if someone saw like a man creating lettuce around himself, I think that would be like very
We're
shocking.
relying on newspaper headlines.
It would, yeah, and there's like a lettuce man saves 200 from a fire. It's like, yeah, it was a big ball of
people would
lettuce
be
that
like-
shot through the walls.
People would be like, I got to read the paper more often. I can't. I don't know where
was
the
a
lead
guy.
up to this is.
It was made of mayo, and he shot through the sewer grate. It was disgusting. This guy with salami eyes just kept coming out. It freaked everybody out. We all just ran away. I turned myself in.
Kaimi, do you have an ad to the deli dudes?
An ad? Oh,
You can
like
add.
A pitch?
I actually might have one.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a thing that I thought about for a while, like years ago. But he's like, I don't know what his name is, but he has like ability to like shoot fried rice out of his eyes, like at immense pressures.
Okay, yeah.
And he's also able to use that to like transport himself. If he looks at the ground and he shoots rice at the ground, propels him through the air. And
this could be a good villain for Lettuce Man. Because the rice penetrates the lettuce.
Lettuce Knight.
Lettuce Knight.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't this guy's name be Fried Eyes?
Yeah.
Fried Rise? And so, like, just like Shitstorm, his eyes are a dimensional portal to an alternate universe where everything's fried rice.
Do you think maybe his accident was that he was like, he came into the deli? If this is a bad guy, he came into the deli and it was like, I can't get a fresh food for right now because I got to go work a 9-hour shift. And he went to the frozen section and there was a thing of frozen microwavable fried rice, and he put it in a microwave at work when he was dead tired, and it exploded. There was immense pressure, and then the fried rice. And he works
in a nuclear lab.
And he was like, ah!
I always remember it was the last thing I ever saw was my fried rice pack exploding into my fucking eyes.
Is he blind, Kaimi? Or does he have normal eyes?
I have an idea. How about he gets back home from work late at night, and like the scene is like you see him put the fried rice in the microwave, and he slams the door as he turns around, but the door like opens back up. And then he falls asleep, and then radiation?
So the
fried rice radiation,
So there's 4 minutes of microwaves, and the thing that makes the microwave not go when the doors open's also broken. So does microwaves make you just combine with whatever food's in front of it as it's spraying at you?
In our world, yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of these guys, I think.
That's why we need the deli dudes.
I'm Trader Joe's chicken wings man. Every time. Ever since that fateful day, I spray them straight out of my eyes.
There would be a lot more warnings on packaging.
I'm Trader Joe's coconut bites man.
Guy just be 2 chicken wings for arms? two fried chicken wings?
They don't shoot out or anything, man. They're just fucking arms.
They regrow,
just stabs you with some.
They're delicious. It's still negative net calories. It's not even useful. I just eat myself and regrow myself. There's 17 other Trader Joe's superheroes. Their snack selections are so good in the microwave.
That's a great commercial.
Oh, yeah. They could be spokesmen.
Let's get into the meters.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Let's explain the meters, too. And we should also explain that we're a podcast that marathons movies like we didn't do in the intro.
Fuck.
We marathon 10 movies of a similar actor or subject, and I will not edit this into the beginning. We're watching Seann William Scott. Jace, your Seannometer, your Seann meter.
Yeah.
What does this mean to you? What is a Seann meter?
A Seann meter is a measure of how Seann performed in this film, how much he was in it, how shibby he was.
How shibby.
How older brothery he is. I don't think we'll say what it means to everybody, but I'm battling some things that are in between the movie rating and the Seann meter. I don't think he was ready for this. I don't know that he was ready for this role, and I think the directorial direction that was given to him in this movie because of the script kind of made it not for him. But at the same time, I thought there were elements of what I've grown to enjoy about him. This is the first time, though, that I haven't, because he was so early, that I didn't like smile or laugh when he came on camera. And that is like the biggest disappointment to me. And I think I've kind of noticed that over the past 8 seasons that I feel like I'm always the one who pitches the worst movie of the season. And you know, I think he's got some of it. He doesn't got all of it. And for the Seannometer, for what he can bring, I'm just going to give it a 5. It's kind of obtuse.
A 5 on the Seannometer. Not very high.
Yeah, I kind of agree with a little bit, especially with your last statement about you not being happy when you see him on the screen. That's kind of the whole point of him, right? Is that like, he's not the bread of the sandwich, right? He's the good stuff in the middle. And in this part, he was the whole sandwich. And that meant a lot of him was bread. And I don't know if that made sense or not. But so I think he didn't have a caw-caw. You know, that's what you need to get a 10 out of 10 on the Seannometer. You have a caw-caw. And yes, he was the bad boy, but he was the lead. And that's just not who Seann William Scott is to me. He's the firm number 2, perhaps number 3. In Evolution, he was number 4. That's fine. Okay. But like, he's number 1 in this. He's first in the credits. He's on the cover. He's obviously the main character. And I just don't think that's Seann. I don't think he's going to get any like bonus based on quality either. Right? Like, this is the one person where I actually would vote, like, penalize them for having a high quantity too. So like, man, I think this is down in the dumps. I'm going to go ahead and give our boy Swiss a 1.
A 1? Shit, man. Kaimi, do you want to go next?
Oh yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
All right. So in my mind, it opened up pretty strong. We got Seann William Scott. He's giving a big old smirk and flipping off the lion. So
Wow. Yeah.
when I first started the movie, I was like, yeah, you look pretty Seann William Scotty.
Not bad.
So,
yeah.
But then the other hour and 20-ish minutes of the movie, not so much. He's got a few quick like one-liners here and there, maybe kind of chuckle at a few things. But overall, the high points kind of get bogged down by just the rest of it. So I might give him like a 2 or a 3. I'll settle for a 3.
That's very fair. Very fair. And I was kind of thinking the same. And Kaimi, you mentioned the beginning, because at first when I saw that intro, I was like, okay, that's like pretty much like our boy Swiss, Seann William Scott. He's staring down the lion. He's looking. He has that little smirk he does, the DreamWorks smirk he always does on the front covers. But throughout the rest of the movie, from like the opening monologue onwards, I was like, oh no, they're not playing to his strengths. You know, we go into these movies seeing our goofy boy going at it, but he's not bringing it this movie. I think he was totally misused and strangely underutilized, even though he was in every scene. Like, I think they should have just directed him differently in this movie. Like, I don't know how anyone saw the takes he was giving and was like, yeah, let's just keep that one. Like, we've seen him in other movies. We know he can nail things in a lot better of a way. And we've also seen archetypes before where people are like bad boys, but they're also funny and charming. I wasn't getting that in this movie. I straight up just didn't like his character in this movie. I thought he was just like super smarmy. I didn't really find him that funny. Like, all of Sean's charm was totally lost in like this fucking ether of the script here. You know, it's like, I think he could be a leading man. Like, I think he fits well in Goon. But in this movie, again, he just wasn't bringing. He wasn't shibby at all either, which is like a huge thing for Seann for me. So it just wasn't working. If you like Seann William Scott, God help you if you choose a movie like this to watch. All right, this is not a good showcase for him, and I'm actually glad that this isn't a well-known movie, because I think it would have really hurt him if this came out. We're looking at his hot streak between 2001 and 2003, where he released like something like 12 movies, something insane. I can't believe he pumped out a movie like this, which probably took a lot of time, a lot of energy to make, and it came out like this. This is going to be a 0. Like, I'm bottoming this shit out.
Wow.
There is nothing in here that reminds me of Seann. I wish I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. I that's kind of why I agree.
I'm going to post circle. This isn't normal, nor is it generally allowed. I'm going to come back. I'm going to redact to a 3. I'm going to do this for 2 reasons. Yesterday, I watched the new Super Mario movie after this, so I kind of forgot a lot of things about this movie, on top of it being terribly shitty. But, and I said it was pretty obtuse. I'm also very tired right now. So the 5 was a lukewarm answer because I didn't know how anybody else was going to rate him on the meter.
Okay.
Jace
So I think
loves this movie.
I think a 3 is with
That's
what
totally,
you guys have to say.
And also, Jace, but the fact that you gave it a 5 made me want to give it a 1 instead of a 2, because I was like, there's no way this thing should be averaging like a 4.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna leave it. But I'm gonna leave my 1.
Jace, you can keep the You're the record keeper.
Yeah, that's
Do whatever you think is fair.
Yeah, I could lie about all of this. I could say that, we all gave the rundown a 10.
Jace, what'd you think about the movie as a whole? What do we got for the movie?
I'm going to come out now and say that I'm giving it a 1. Because I've avoided 0s in the past because, Denali gets away with it. But I feel like if I do it, then we're going to start an argument with Ryan. And
no, I was about to do a speech about it. Yeah.
I'm gonna give
we can fucking do 0s. People do 0s.
No,
I'm gonna give it a 1. We had some pretty I love what Kaimi said earlier. This is a video. don't want to deign to call this a movie. Just starting off, like, don't break. This movie could be remade. It could be remade well. It could have been a good movie. It's lined with slurs from the mid 2000s that don't hold up in 2023, that are like really bad and can't come at like no time. Like a lot of people probably watched this when they were high schoolers. Actually, they probably didn't watch this when they were high schoolers because it went to yeah. It might have found it funny then. And then like the bits of good, and I'm not even gonna call it bits of gold. There aren't gold nuggets in this turd. There's like
there's peanuts in shit,
and you're like, wow, I kind of like peanuts in my sometimes. Like if I think they hit on the science of the like I said, I like the premise of the heist. It was kind of cool that they had to raise the decibels up so that they could drill into the wall. It was cool that they had somebody who was a computer scientist that was like, oh, I can hack this, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of where it ends. You know, Ricky's ugly haircut was just disgusting. and an artifact of the 2000s that I don't want to be reminded of. I thought the bottle gag, there are two pieces of trivia on this movie that I could find online. And one of them is the bottle gag when they try to hit the bar owner in the head with it and it doesn't break. And he continued acting through the scene because it actually did not break on his head.
That makes me so sad.
And then Seann William Scott hit him in the head with it again.
What?
Yeah.
It makes me so sad that he committed this hard to a movie like this.
So, I don't know. It was unbearable to listen to. I have what I like to be happy about as a good surround sound system so that I can watch movies and experience the audio the way some audio engineer wanted me to. And this whole movie is brr, brr, brr. And it's just, why does he have Hansi on his neck? Why does he have, what does it mean? I didn't have time to pause it to figure out. I don't fucking know. I don't know why they made this movie. So I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I'm going to go out and say 1 because there's not a lot of worse things I've seen in my life. And you know it's bad when like a major, not primary, but a secondary speaking role goes to the guy in Men in Black who had to get pulled over on the road because his alien wife was giving birth.
Was that guy?
I think I have not looked it up on IMDb.
I think it's the guy.
I think that's the guy. That's like one of your main actors. And he actually is responsible for doing one of the characters with like the most emotional and neurological needs, right? So anyways, not a good sign.
Okay, interesting.
Also, I didn't know which problematic scene Jace was talking about when he said, I saw a trailer that had a problematic scene in it. Because like one happened 2 minutes in and I was like, oh, that's probably it. And there are about 70 more. I'm doing a speed fire here. I started looking forward to the ads. Guys, thank God this was on Tubi because the ads let me be like, whew, man. At least I listened to them. I didn't even mute them because it was the only time that bass got out of my head. But with the ads, just using the dialogue, like if I picked up my phone, I wasn't sure whether I was back from an ad yet. It was the same style of dialogue.
Yeah.
And and after we watched this movie, I just started watching normal TV. Like normally when I'm done with a movie, it's like, okay, I need some time to decompress, get up, walk around, maybe just, go to bed or do whatever. But I just changed the channel. And it was like TV. It was just like background noise, essentially. And I don't think I liked a single thing out of it. Oh, yeah, so 1. That's because that's how low my scale goes.
A 1. Kaimi, what do you think about this dang movie here?
All right. Where do I start? So I watch a lot of movies and movie reviews and everything. And I think one of the things that I find really frustrating when I watch a movie is where there's like a cool concept or cool things kind of locked in with the rest of a shitty movie. And I think this is one of them. There's like a lot of stuff we talk about where the different scenes happen. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. They got to sync the explosion with the bass drop.
Right.
Or, stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I think if we did this movie again or fixed a lot of things in it, it could be really cool to watch. I think I'd really enjoy a heist movie where you're kind of like locked in a claustrophobic rave party for the entire thing. That could be a really sick concept. But yeah, it just like that sounds like a movie that I would love to watch. This was definitely not it. It was just bad. I don't know how else to put it. Usually when I watch movies, I think about like, how would I fix this scene, or how would I like create better tension in this scene later on. And if I have to keep doing that every like 5 minutes, then probably not a good movie. So if I'm trying to put this on a scale, I think I mentioned earlier that the last thing he wanted was like probably that's like a 1 for me. That's just completely unwatchable. Considering this is like actually kind of watchable, it kind of moves it up a little bit. So I might put it at a 4. It's just left of that bell curve, just kind of boring. It's a thing that is on the screen and it makes noise and has flashing lights on it.
Wow.
God damn. You are the shining warrior defending
I do
this
not
movie.
like this. My name is Kaimi, and I do
Kaimi.
not endorse this movie or anything in it.
A 4. You're like the meme with the knight with the giant shield protecting like the movie. I think.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it either.
No,
Well,
it's fair.
kind of like
It's fair.
you can kill it.
I was a little entertained sometimes watching the antics go down and all the little pieces fall apart, but
Yeah,
the
I laughed a
execution
lot.
was just so terrible. Yeah.
Totally valid, because there's a lot of people in the IMDb reviews who did really like this movie, which has me shook. So a lot of people gave it a 10.
And they vote.
Yeah, folks, there's people like this out there. So maybe you should get yourselves to the ballot boxes. Yeah, I mean, this movie, boy, oh boy, usually made for TV movies is usually not good. But this movie, however, really set out to show that it's a giant piece of shit. Like, it goes beyond not good, to where, like, I think it takes away from art somehow. Like, I think this existing takes away from cinema. Like, it took something away that can't be put back inside me. It was a very, very bad movie in almost every sense, and I don't think it had any redeeming features for me. Like, I watched it, like, yesterday. I started at 4 p.m., and I made it halfway through, and I ended watching it at 10 p.m. because I had that many distractions and things I wanted to do besides watch it. It was a very, very rough watch. I don't think I could recommend this to anyone. It's just a fucking bad movie. Seann, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know who threatened you or blackmailed you into doing this film, but I'm glad you ended up having a career after it. I don't know if this is necessarily your fault. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say maybe you were the best part of this movie, but that's not saying much. This movie is gonna be a double goose eggs in the spirit of Christmas, in the spirit of Easter. That just happened.
In the spirit of spaghetti.
Spaghetti. It's spirit of spaghetti. Double meatballs, 2 zeros for me. Fucking double O's. I've got nothing to say. This movie had me going stark raving mad.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, he said it.
Said the movie. Looks at camera. And I'm sorry, Kaimi. I'm sorry you had to watch it. And
I'm really
I'm also sorry. Oh.
And also, but I'm not sorry to have you on. You've been a great guest, dog. Thank you for coming on, dude. Like, you're welcome to come back on when we watch a better movie.
With a good movie.
And maybe
Yeah.
maybe we can have a better time.
And I promise to never do this to a guest again
Just
unless
hey,
I
if-
No,
change
Jace,
my mind.
you wanted him to
Hey,
watch
if you're
something
listening,
shitty.
If
No.
you're listening in your car right now and you're thinking you want to be a guest, make sure you know what the movie is first
There you
before you say yes or no.
Like Denali just said, it has a lot of 10s on IMDb. How am I supposed to search through all of those ratings to determine whether or not a guest is going to enjoy?
Ryan, what do you got for next
guys.
week?
You know, we need a
It's your
lot.
pick.
We need a lot of reform in our lives.
Yes.
And we need a
Bring
lot
it
of
up.
reform in this season. We're going off the rails. And what I think we need is for Seann William Scott to get on our little black box movie screen and be a good old-fashioned role model.
All right.
So I think this is gonna be right up our alley. At least my alley. Like, he's not the main character. I think it's Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And role models. And I think it's a good like late 2000s comedy, right?
Yeah.
Because those 2000 comedies are just so good every time.
Right. Yeah. This is one of those. It's in
Let's
that.
watch another.
Yeah.
There's going to be nothing wrong with it. Sweet, Ryan. I'm stoked. Haven't seen it since it came out. Join us next week for our review of Role Models. Hit us up on IG. Everywhere you get your podcasts, rate us, review us. Rate Kaimi. He's a great guest. Do it for Kaimi. Kaimi, is there anything you want to say before we sign off? It's your open mic. You know, this is your podium.
Oh, geez.
Or we could do a Seanism.
I thought we were going to make like an advice thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to say, okay, we can make it an advice
make-
thing. You don't want to
we
use
can
the
make
podium. You have
advice.
nothing to sell. Okay, let's do it.
Let him start.
Okay, Ryan,
Speed
1
round.
minute.
okay, Kaimi, you can start us off. Just say a word.
Sometimes.
Sometimes I want
10.
Omelette.
Omelet?
Omelette?
What'd you say?
He said omelet.
Oh, you did say omelet.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's it.
Omelet tacos. Tacos.
There we go.
Sometimes I want 10 omelets.
Sometimes I want 10 omelet.
That's up, folks.